So let's turn to the last one. And this is about really focusing on what truly matters. So we talked about how to create some acceptance around any challenging circumstances, any circumstances at all. Then we spoke about how afterwards to build your own vision of what is meaningful for you, what is success for you. And particularly in this case, that's key, because how you thought of what success would look like for you for the present and the future a month ago or 2 months ago may be very different than now. And intelligent, loving people get to shift, right, their ideas. And so I'm encouraging you to do that. But now we're also going to go really to detail. What are your priorities right now? We've talked about your general, specific life vision, but also what are the key priorities that are going to get you through what's happening right here and get you well positioned for where you want to be. Focus is about a decision, okay? More than anything, a decision about specific priorities. And just like any decision we make, to say yes to something means to say no to something else. As we mentioned, we are going to talk about mindfulness strategies in the future, but next week, specifically, we're going to really go into productivity, making progress, getting into flows. And you're going to see how one very important thing is having to say no to some things and how to deal with that. So the more honest your decision is about your priorities, the more it reflects your authentic needs, your authentic desires and expectations, the more you're going to be able to motivate and organize around it. So if you're feeling a kind of with some priorities you've created, ask yourself where the block is, ask yourself where the natural motivation is, right? And we'll talk about the other side of that too. As I said, only you can decide what's truly important for you, both for your general vision going forward, even in its detail, or for your priorities right now. And it's our right and our responsibility to do that. You've probably seen or been around people who are constantly frustrated because they feel like they're upholding someone else's ideas, someone else's priorities. And so you'll see this through passive aggressive behavior, through blaming behavior, through frustration, right? So really at the end of the day, choosing wholeheartedly what makes sense for you is the best thing we can do to send some good energy into the world, but not to mention make our lives as quality as possible. The other question then for you is, what priorities right now are the most important for getting what you want, right? What do you want? Remember that it may have changed from a few weeks ago. And the key here is truly, right? It's about connecting honestly. It's about connecting to what you feel, what you want to achieve. So it's not just your end results. And we're going to keep talking about this next week. It's how do you want to feel? Because you may tick that box and then feel like crap because the whole way there was exhausting. Be careful also that what you think you want may not be what you truly need. You've heard this before, but one way to dispel this and to really sense check this is take a look at why, right? Where are these things coming from? And something to consider, right, as we go forward. So when you're making your specific priorities, think about you. What right now will contribute to making you feel, you decide your adjectives, but here's a couple of them, right? Healthy, happy, well, motivated, inspired, active, productive, positive, engaged, wise, connected, moving, creative, etc. Right? What will help you with that? Second thing to consider with regards to your priorities is your present, the present, right? What will make all this more bearable, more fluid, more fulfilling, more enjoyable, more easeful, continuous, consistent, effective, stable, etc., meaningful for you? The present, you've also heard, is actually all there is. That's all we got, right? Right now, all we have at this moment is this moment that we're sharing together. What happens in 5 minutes hasn't happened yet. It doesn't exist. And what's happened already is the past. So that's a really great thing to kind of try and focus on. The other thing to consider in your priorities is the future, right? And we're going to touch on this very lightly. We're starting to orient ourselves there, but without any pressure. So the idea is, what do you want to become? What do you want to create going forward? What do you want to position yourself for? What do you want to accomplish? What do you want to enjoy? What do you want to feel? Not just now, but in the future. And how do you want to serve? We'll talk about that in future sessions too. Be careful of the achievement motive. A lot of us in the Western world have this, that it's, feels so good to tick boxes, to be super productive. But sometimes it has really high costs. There are a lot of folks who say, I'm doing all this stuff, but A, I don't even know what I did all day, or B, I did all this stuff, but I'm exhausted and I'm disconnected from what inspires me, from what makes sense for me. So just getting a bunch of stuff done, and we'll keep talking about that, isn't necessarily the be all and end all. And then there's the shit sandwich, right? Shit Sandwich is by Elizabeth Gilbert, who wrote the book Eat, Pray, Love. She says, it's not just about choosing what you want. It's also about choosing the other side of what you want that's going to come with it. So those are the unpleasant things that you're going to have to deal with, but that are important in getting to where you want to go, right? Everybody says, entrepreneurship is so great. Yeah, but there's a lot of instability. There's a lot of having to self-drive yourself and self-motivate. Maybe that's not the shit sandwich you want, for example, right? Or you do. The important thing is then to choose not just what you want, but also be aware of what comes with it. That's maybe not going to be as pleasant, but that you commit yourself to, because it's going to be key. A couple of other things to consider. Again, always connect to not just people and tools that are going to help you support you in your general kind of vision for life going forward with all its specifics, but actually help you get your priorities done right now. If health is one of those, well, maybe you find a specific trainer giving classes online that's going to work for you very well. Maybe, there is a particular service. Maybe there is a particular person, a friend, who joins you as you try to take care of a priority you've both decided is key for you. Look for those that are going to champion you, not just in the great vision, but also going forward. And the idea as well is, keep in mind that when you do decide to make some shifts about what's important for you, be they very specific priorities or sort of more general life visions, those who have been used to you a certain way may struggle with that transition initially. What becomes important then is to be able to communicate around that using both assertiveness, some things we'll talk about in the future, but that's the ability to stand up for what you want, who you are, and how you want to proceed with your life. Combined with versatility, which is an adaptiveness to say, okay, I also see it in certain ways. I also understand, and I'm open to other people's perspectives. So that communication will help smooth the ride when you decide to make some shifts that you think others might struggle with, either in a personal or professional manner. And, keep the window open. Allow yourself to pivot. Allow yourself to change your mind. Allow yourself to learn, right? So whatever we decide right now doesn't mean that we are married to it forever. So take the pressure off in that. The most important thing is just to start small and turn towards the light. Next week, we're going to talk about, again, more productivity, really how to get mobilizing, how to get the energy flowing. But for now, I'd love to know from you. So a couple of questions, right? What will help you make peace with your new reality? What limiting beliefs are you struggling with at the moment, or finding cool ways to dispel them? What are priorities that are maybe new or renewed in this current situation?